and welcome to Making Sense of It. This is our gift to you from the Glasser Institute of Choice Theory, in that each week we have a staff member to tell us about one of Dr. Glasser's concepts and how they use it in their life and the tremendous results that it brings. And today we have a super special person here, and that is Carleen Glasser, who is Dr. Glasser's widow. And Ms. Glasser, thank you so very, very much for coming and being a part of this Making Sense of It. And I understand you're going to be talking and telling us about love. Okay, well, I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you talk, okay?
Well, it's my pleasure to be here. Today, I thought since it's the month of February, and since Valentine's Day falls in February, February 14th, I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about love. And so I have several things to say about it. First of all, I'll say that Dr. Glasser, or I call him Bill Glasser, was the love of my life. He taught me a lot about love, and we taught each other about how to have a quality relationship, a choice theory relationship. Because when I married him in 1995, he had just started talking about, in 96, about changing control theory to choice theory, and he wanted to write a book about it. So I was, of course, with him all the time, and so he started writing. It was Choice Theory, the book Choice Theory was published in 1998. It's all during the time that we were writing, he was writing the book, and I was editing the book for him. We talked about relationships and how important choice theory is to relationships, and how we would commit to having a choice theory relationship in our own marriage. And it made all the difference because, we just decided that we weren't going to use any of what he calls the 7 deadly habits that kill relationships. Criticizing, blaming, complaining, nagging, threatening, punishing, rewarding, control, all those 7 deadly habits. If you want to get out of a relationship with somebody that you don't like, use those habits and will guarantee that it'll build that relationship. So we decided not to do that. And Bill was marvelous. He always, whatever he wrote, whatever he talked about with his books or his talks, his lectures, he lived it. He didn't criticize. He didn't criticize anyone. And if I did something that I thought was displeasing, which I tried never to do, he would never blame me for anything that went wrong. So one of the things that went wrong in one part of our marriage, he bought a new car. And he loved that car. It was very, very shiny and white. He loved white cars, and he would even name his cars. And I forget what he could name this was. But anyway, I was driving it and accidentally got into an automobile accident. I could have been killed, actually. It was really quite serious. I pulled out on the Pacific Coast Highway from a friend of ours' driveway to look up the coast, and there was a car coming down the hill to the left, and I was pulling over to the opposite lane to try to make a left turn, and the car came so quickly I didn't see it, and before I could get out of the way completely, it ran into the back end of the car. The car was backside behind the driver's seat. And our seatbelts deployed, and it spun the car around. Push came to shove, it was totaled. The car was completely totaled. And I was just devastated. I was so upset because I wrecked this brand new car for one. But I was very pleased that nobody was killed. That was good. And the first thing he asked was, "Are you all right?" He wasn't in the car. And I said, "Yes, I'm fine." And things like he didn't talk about, complain about it, or bemoan his fate that I had wrecked his car. He never talked to anybody about it. I guess about maybe 4 or 5 days after the accident, after the death, you know, we had taken care of the insurance stuff that you have to do. I had what I felt was a post-traumatic emotional response to this accident. And so I started to cry. I couldn't stop crying. I started hysterically crying. And of course, I was married to the best psychiatrist in the world. So I went to him and I figured that maybe he could help me. And you know, he didn't say one word to me. He sat down next to me on the sofa. I'll never forget this. He wrapped his arms around me and he just held me. He just held on to me. While I cried and cried and cried. And it was so comforting and so, he was there, but he wasn't trying to tell me what to do or what not to do or give me any kind of external control. He was just giving me himself. And I clung to him. He held on to me through the whole crying jag. It cured me. You know, truly. And he often said that post-traumatic stress, people deal with it better if they have a good relationship and they're connected with people that can give them comfort and love. And boy, it was sure true in my case. So that was an early experience in our marriage. And like I said, we tried very hard to have a choice theory relationship. And he was sometimes better at it than I was because I call myself a recovering external control person because I sometimes would try to get him to do things that he didn't want to do, like leave his computer and come in for lunch. I've spoken about this. It's just a silly thing, but I would fix lunch for him and say, lunch is ready, and he would come. And there was no amount of coaxing or nagging or complaining that I would do that would get him to come. So I finally gave it up. I finally decided he's going to come and eat this lunch when he wants to, and that's all there is to it. Well, the only person's behavior you can control is your own. And he was very good at controlling his behavior, and he didn't have any interest in controlling mine. And so we talked everything over. We had a great life together, communicating, and I think that's what love is, when you can really connect with somebody. People would often ask us, what is love? And when we talk about the basic needs, basic need for love and belonging, power, freedom, fun, survival, all of those basic needs. But, you know, the need for love and belonging is the most difficult sometimes to fulfill because it depends on somebody else. You have to have somebody else in your life to love or belong with. And so we would teach people about our quality world and how we would put each other in our quality world. And that's one definition of love, I think. Is when you put somebody in your quality world and they put you in their quality world. And you know the concept of the Venn diagram, where there are two circles that overlap one another, and there's a space in the middle.
Right.
I can't do it with my fingers, but I should have a diagram, something fancy to show you. But a Venn diagram, basically, it could be like two quality worlds overlapping. And where the bigger the overlap, the better the relationship. Because that's the more you can share in each other's quality world, the richer the relationship and the more stable the relationship is. And if somebody takes something out of their quality world, it's something that we can talk about. You know, our quality world is in a relationship, a love relationship. We can talk about our pictures in our quality world and compare them and contrast them. And when they don't match, we can talk about it. It gives you a great opportunity for us to communicate in a really meaningful way when you understand the power of the needs and how we all have universal needs, but the specific pictures we put in our quality world, and when we're in a relationship, if they match, and if you keep each other in your quality world, it's a relationship that can last. We also wrote a little book with this bones doing something. So okay. So where was I?
You were talking about the power of the need and how it motivates you whenever you understand the other person's power of the need.
Right. And the needs, we all have different need strengths too. I might have a really high need for love and belonging, and my partner may not have as high a need for love and belonging. But that's something we can negotiate. If my partner would know that what I need and how intense that need is, as Bill did, he understood that I had a need for connection, need for belonging, need for love. That's when I had the automobile accident and went into the crying uncontrollably, that he gave me exactly what I needed. I didn't need a lecture, I didn't need counseling, I didn't need somebody to talk about it with me. I had that all processed in my own brain. But all I needed was him to hold on to me, so that I didn't feel so alone in my distress. And so when I remember when Bill got very sick, it was quadruple bypass surgery 4 years before he died. And that was a very stressful time for both of us. But we come to one another. And I was there every day at the hospital. I just spent the entire day with him. I would be beside him. And we came home and we tried to keep our closeness. And the closeness, I think, contributed to his being able to deal with such a serious issue. Anyway, moving on from that, I was talking about the feeling of love that we have for one another, how we put each other in our quality world. And we also talked about, in a book that we wrote called What Is This Thing Called Love? We came to the conclusion that love is commitment, it's not infatuation. Because infatuation, that feeling you feel when your heart flutters and you get all liberty gibbet, or whatever the word is, that when people first come together and you're just sort of starstruck with one another, you've got twinkles in your eyes.
Not sure if something happened, but I'm not able to hear anymore.
I don't hear either.
Partners need strength. And if there's a really compatible need strength there, like one has a huge need for power and the other has an equally huge need for power, you're going to have some trouble in that relationship, because you're going to both be at odds with one another and competing with one another to get what you need and what you want. And you just control the situation. And often relationships, the biggest problem with relationships that fail is that people were trying to control one another. And that's where the deadly habits came. Those are all external control behaviors. Criticizing, blaming, complaining, nagging, threatening, punishing, rewarding to control. So that's one of the things I want to talk about. Another thing I wanted to talk about is, it starts off with, I remember the song that Dionne Warwick made very, very famous. It was on the charts for a long time. It was called What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love. That's the only thing that there's much to in love. Remember that one?
Yes, beautiful song.
And it's so true, and even more true today. I think with this pandemic and with the situation in our world, the way our country, the way it is, with the division that people are experiencing, just lots of hate and lots of bad feelings toward one another. And what the world needs now is love, sweet love. in short supply, I think, in many cases. However, the pandemic has had one effect of bringing families in close contact with one another if they're in the same house, and they've been kind of stuck there. I know my daughter and her husband and like 2 grandchildren live here with me, and it's a blessing because I didn't have to go out and buy groceries. I didn't have to go anywhere to become infected by the virus, the COVID-19. And they took taking wonderful care of me. But the other side of the coin is they're here all the time with me. And we work, and I go to school, and we really got to know each other. And luckily, I have a space of my own, one side of the house. They sleep at the other end of the house. But sometimes I just come back here into where I am now in my room, my bedroom. It's very cozy. I've got my TV and my reclining chair and all kinds of real comforts at home. And sometimes you just need to escape and to keep the relationship strong. So you have to have your own space, and they have their own space. My grandchildren go to a wonderful school. I wanted to tell you that both my grandchildren go to this wonderful school here in LA, and it was founded by a man 50 years ago who studied Bill Glasser's book, Schools Without Failure, and all of Bill's works. He listened to lectures. He told me this, and they at this wonderful school they have a really neat program for grandparents. All the grandparents of children who go to that school have been invited to join what's called a Memoirs Club. In the Memoirs Club, we come together once a month, bringing with us a story that we wrote, or some creative writing piece that we've written that we can share with us teachers to use with the children in the classroom, but we read them to each other out loud. And we tell stories from our past when we were children and what it was like at Valentine's Day, what the holidays were like when we were children. And we share stories with one another. And some of these grandparents with the Zoom meeting, they come from Australia, we have some from Britain, we have people from all over the world whose grandchildren actually go to this school because their parents live in Los Angeles. And so I've met so many people that way and had so much fun. I've been in the group for now 3 years. And so we've got to know each other. And last month we had someone come in who was a teacher at the school who's also a poet. And he gave us a little workshop on poetry, writing poetry, and encouraged us to write poetry. And so after hearing at the inauguration, the youth poet laureate, what's her name? Amanda Dorman. She was really impressive. And that was in November. And we had the meeting it was in January, I'm sorry. And we had the meeting about poetry. And so I got all inspired and decided that I'd write a poem for February meeting, which our February meeting is next Friday. And I wrote this poem for the meeting. And it's called The Choices We Make. Would you like to hear it?
I would love to hear it, Miss Glasser.
Let me take a sip.
Okay.
When you talk, and we're not used to talking a long period of time, which I don't talk very much all day.
Well, you're doing a wonderful job. I'm mesmerized here.
I've been teaching this stuff for 30 years, so, more than 30 years actually. And it kind of gets stuck in my brain, but my voice gets kind of dry. Okay, it's called The Choices We Make. What can feel so right, yet so easily go wrong? Is this an exclusive club or can anyone belong? What can last a lifetime or be forever left behind? Looking for a new start seems impossible to find. You could feel it in your heart. You could see it in your mind. So you think you found it. This time it is for real. No, that's only how you feel. You finally come to the conclusion it was just an illusion. Despite the daunting odds at stake, what if we gave as much as we take, sharing the promise of lasting emotion, fulfilling the dream of caring devotion, trust, freedom, and ongoing laughter? These are the threads that bind us together. The world is replete with deception of late. So disconnected, we escalate the debate. Now, how do we escape the lies, fear, and hate? Maybe there is a four-letter word we often misuse. Easy to say, not hard to abuse. This word loses power the minute it's spoke. For dramatic effect, it's like blowing smoke. There has to be more than a word that is said, more than a feeling. What can we do instead? Let's join together without judgment or blame. Talk about what we all want that's the same. Universal needs form a common ground where fear or deception are seldom found. Whatever divides us, we must rise above. What on earth can unite us if it isn't love?
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thanks. Well, I have very zero experience writing poetry, so someone who's a real poet would maybe be able to critique it. But I enjoyed I enjoyed thinking about those thoughts and thinking about what would Bill say in a time like this. And I decided to write that little poem about love without mentioning love, 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 because everybody, they love pizza, they love, that dress that you have on, they love your earrings. They love everything. And it's just it seems so meaningless at times to just keep saying love all the time. But the real meaning of love is, I think, what I said, trust and laughter, being able to laugh together. If you remember Bill, he had a great sense of humor, a very quick wit. And I think one of the things that kept us so connected with one another and so in love is that he made me laugh every day. And he wasn't one of these grumpy people that wake up in the morning and crap and complain. He woke up with a joke in his head, and he'd make me laugh so early in the morning. It was impossible to be grumpy. So he knew what it meant to stay connected with people. And that's why he stayed connected with so many people over the 50 or 60 years since he started writing. It's amazing that the first book, major book that he wrote, Reality Therapy, is still in print and still selling.
Yes, definitely.
Translated into a bazillion languages, which is wonderful. So anyway, that's kind of what I had to say. I wrote down a couple of notes. Let's see if I covered them. You can't legislate goodwill. That was another quote that I heard somewhere along the line. And so we're going to have to find another way to get along with one another. And we have to start with putting people in our quality world and sharing ideas and thoughts with them without trying to control them and showing love.
Everything I'm hearing you say as you're winding it up, it sounds like it's the underlying word of commitment.
Yes, it is.
That to being committed to what you have said. And I love the fact in your poem that you talked about, is it real? And you kind of dismiss it because that's just how you're feeling right now.
Yes.
And the commitment is what makes it real, and all of the words that you put there at the very end. And I really like that diagram that you gave us with your hand, the quality world and quality world, and the more they can come together, and that you can share more things in it. So it's just beautiful. And thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, 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 yes. So I'll go ahead and stop the recording, and thank you very, very much. But we'll chat for just a minute after I stop the recording. And thank you so much. This has just been a delight. And all of those that will watch later, I'm sure. Is it all right if I let them have your email so they can send you a comment?
Sure, sure.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat box, and then they can send you their personal comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Mrs. Glasser has agreed to do some more tapings with me. As a matter of fact, we're going to do one this next Monday. And just some of those things are so, and her email address, which I'm putting it down for you, is carleenglasser@gmail.com. And if you would like to send her a note on that, I told her that although we did it in February, February was already had other speakers, and so we wouldn't have it until March, and she was okay with that. So it's always better late than never. So I will go ahead and close down today's airing and invite you to stay around. Let's just talk about some of the things that Mrs. Glasser shared with us. In the meantime, have a good day and good mental health.